The 2023 National Savings Month campaign comes at a time where South African consumers are facing the height of financial pressure. According to the latest TrendyR InfoQuest report, only 13% of the 300 consumers surveyed are satisfied with their current financial status. This has been attributed to the ongoing rise in the cost of living, which includes a continued hike in interest rates, food and transport. InfoQuest MD Mokgorosi Mashilo speaks to us now about how the current climate is affecting the consumer and is not conducive for saving. Thank you so much for your time. Let's first talk through the highlights of this report. What exactly is it telling us about the state of the consumer's pocket in South Africa?
Good morning and thank you for having me.
The state of the South African consumer, where do we stand? Essentially, we are in the middle part of the year of 2023, and we've seen the escalation of the prices in terms of goods that are sold, the food basket, but salaries are not increasing. And I'm interested in finding out how South Africans then are able to save, if at all, given the current climate.
Good morning. So we conducted a study of 300 respondents, South African representative sample, and this is a follow-up study from last year's study. And as we said, unfortunately, it hasn't changed. 1 in 2 South Africans are still very much dissatisfied about their current financial situations, which therefore means that saving is really hard for them, because instead of saving, we're seeing that more South Africans are taking out loans and credit cards to be able to maintain their current financial situation. So a lot of our South Africans have taken out more personal loans, credit cards, and also home loan access in order for them to be able to overcome their financial current situation.
Quite interestingly, though, is that the loan book for banks and financial institutions does not necessarily reflect, a dire situation of the South African consumer until the latter of the data that we have received in the first quarter and we are going to receive going into the rest of this year. It has become an unprecedented situation when we look at the relationship of lenders and the South African consumer, given the current circumstance and situation. How do we then respond to an imbalance between the two?
It's a very good question, because a lot, as you said, a lot of people have now gone into this credit or rather debt situation, and therefore some of them don't necessarily have the ability or means to be able to get any funds from a formal financial institution, and they therefore have to rely on other alternatives such as your mashonisas, your stokvels, lending from friends and families. So not all of it will be documented in the formal financial sector. And that's what also is something that we need to realize, and it's important because there is a lot that we don't understand about the normal consumer, and what's just on the books does not reflect the current lifestyle that actually does show that our South Africans are struggling in terms of their financial means.
I'm intrigued in your choice of words when you say a normal consumer in South Africa. What would we, or who would we describe as exactly that? Because some data, like you've alluded to, is not even documented. Even when we come to a formal statistical basis, there are some market elements of what is known as the informal economy that are not collated.
Correct. And that really is it? A normal consumer is as we said, you've got the formal documented sector, and you've got people that not only just have regular jobs, or rather, let me say, people that do have regular jobs, but because they're struggling to meet their financial ends, they then go out and do extra, let's call piece jobs, and those might come in cash, those might come in different forms of payments, and that we do not get to document. And this is where we say the normal consumer, it really is not what we think of a 9 to 5. As we know, a lot of South Africans are struggling, and they're still trying to recover from the COVID pandemic that has appeared, and therefore a lot of South Africans are trying to make ends meet by hand-to-mouth income that we will not necessarily be aware of.
And that's where the bigger debate comes in the South African discourse, that what do we save? How? Because we do not have much left after we've even paid the bare minimum of the basics.
I mean, we are taking, or rather South Africans are taking out more loans, credit cards, they're borrowing money just to get by. So really, when it comes to saving is really not even in the picture as yet, which is quite disheartening, because would like to see more people have that extra income to be able to save, but unfortunately that is not the case. Just to even get by the bare minimum, people still have to borrow money and take out credit facilities.
Lastly, would you say that the national and annual savings campaign then should be looking in a different direction, as opposed to fostering a culture of saving when there really isn't much to save? Or we could be just wrong in saying that saving as little as you can does also go a long way.
I think it's both. Save as little as you can. Yes, if you do have the means to be able to do that, but we also need to realize the reality. It's easy to speak about the nice end or the benefits, but if we don't speak about people's realities, and it means we don't understand them, and therefore we need to look at people's situations first and try and help them in their current debt situations. Give them advice on how to handle debt, how to handle their money before we even speak about saving. So yes, saving, we should still keep on the message of savings, the little that you have, but we need to be able to educate our citizens in terms of debt relief and being able to handle finances.
InfoQuest MD Mokgorosi Mashilo there talking to us this morning about the 2023 Savings Month, which comes at a precarious time, and consumers in South Africa under immense pressure.